Black women over 40. If you're single, retirement planning looks different for you, but it's still possible. A lot of Black women over 40 are single, divorced, widowed, or simply just planning life on their own terms. Like I. Why retirement planning feels different when you're single? It's just you. You have to worry about yourself. You don't have that weight of worrying about somebody else. You just have to focus on yourself. Do you see how I am presenting to you right now? Now, I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with being, matched up, coupled up, all the good things. But it's a difference when you only have to worry about yourself. The same concept goes when you have children. When your children get older and things like that, you're like, okay, finally, I can just do things that I want to do. That's the same concept. So you don't have to worry about planning for two. You don't have to worry about considering anybody, whatever you choose to do. If you want to be on a cruise ship for the next 5 years, that is your business, okay? So that's why planning looks different. Let's dive a little deeper. So when it's just you, there's no second income to lean on. You just have to really budget properly, invest, save, do other things to assure that you will be where you need to be during your retirement. So like I just mentioned, there's no second income. So in saying all of that, you're pretty much carrying the full weight of the bills, of your household, and a lot of women do. A lot of women carry the full weight of their household. There's no 50-50 going on. It's just you paying the bills, okay? I got to throw a little jab in there every now and then. It may feel heavy, but let me tell you something. When you don't have anybody else to consider, you're just worrying about yourself, it's a different ball game. You're doing things on your own terms, okay? Just sit back and think, what was it, 1975, 1974, when we was just able to get checking accounts? I was born in 76. That wasn't too long ago, okay? Not too long ago. So we could do this. We could do this. In addition to why it may feel heavy, always remember you're planning your retirement according to your own peace. You get to build it the way you want it to look. Again, if you want to travel, if you want to live on a cruise ship, if you want to do whatever it is you want to do, you can do it without considering someone else. Now, nobody's saying you can't have a partner or something like that, but when it comes to your retirement, you can figure this out on your own, okay? I know some people may be like, oh no, I don't want to do it on my own. Then this conversation is not for you, okay? I understand that. I understand that some people do want to have a partner, but in some senses, you still have to plan for yourself if you don't have one. And I know for me, I don't have one. So I have to plan for okay? And I also want you to know that being solo doesn't mean that you're behind. It just means that your strategy needs to be a little bit more clearer. You're not planning for two opinions, two spending habits, or two different retirement timelines. Because think about it. You could be older than your spouse. You could be younger than your spouse, or the one you're dating, the one you divorced, the one you widowed, or however that may go. You are really creating your life. Okay? We were brought in by ourselves. We go out by ourselves. We plan by ourselves. So what are some financial priorities for solo retirement? What are some things we need to really hone in on and make sure that we're focused during this season? As I always mention, knowing your monthly number, knowing how much you need to survive. I know for me in retirement, I'm not going to need the amount of money that I have now to retire. I'm going to live totally different. Do I want to live nice and lavish? Oh, yes, you know you want to. But at the end of the day, to be very realistic, it's always good to live below your means. So that'll always leave you a cushion. So when you want to do things and have fun and live your life, you have the funds to do it. When you have a really high overhead, you can't live your life. You really can't. Next, your emergency savings becomes non-negotiable. It's always good. People say have 3 months. Some people say have 6 months. Some people say have a year. I feel you need to have enough that you feel comfortable, especially in the economy that we live in now. I sit back and think about times when I hear people say, oh, I got 3 months worth of savings that can pay my bills. That was like, whoa, you got 3 months? You got 3 months of rent, you got 3 months of light bill, you got 3 months of grocery, you got 3 months of credit card, you got 3 months? Whoa. Now it's like 6 months is looking like, that ain't enough. A year is like what we felt 3 months was, because times have changed. So that's why I say it's non-negotiable. Assure that you have your savings for what you know you want to live like, because you just never know what's going on. We sit here and we banking on Social Security and things like that, but as the more if I'm doing my research and I'm reading, it's looking like 2035 it might be depleted if they don't like do like a new a new vote law thing. I'm not too sure about that, so don't quote me. This is just me diving in, getting some information, and I need to do some more research. But we're just putting it out on the table so we can have the actual conversation. Keeping that debt low, okay? Don't be maxing out these credit cards, because you know what? If you get into a bind where something starts garnishing and things like that, we don't want to pull into our savings. Okay, so we want to keep our credit cards low as possible, use them for emergency purposes, and try to get cards where if you need them. I'm not gonna say go get them, but if you need to get a card that has maybe low interest rate or no interest rate if you pay it off in full by the end of the billing cycle, because they do have those. That's for a very disciplined person, okay? Because if not, these APRs, these interest rate, they're high. They are extremely high. Retirement contributions have to be intentional, even if they're small. Even if you may sit and say, okay, I'm going to start putting over $100 or $500, whatever that number might be for you. Everybody's number is different. And even if you get to a month where something got a little shaky, because things do happen. One thing about me, I'm very real. Things do happen. Even if you can't put, the normal amount, even if it's like, yo, I don't got it, I got to put 50. I got to put 10. I got to put what, long as you put something, because something always adds up. And when you know what your compound number is, it doesn't matter if it's small or big, at least it's doing something for you. And that's what we always want to make sure, that our money is working for us. You want to be able to sleep at night knowing that your money is still working and still doing what it has to do. That's a part of passive income and things like that. We're going to get into that later. Okay? We're going to get to that later. So with knowing all of this, you don't need perfection. You just need to plan. Solo retirement should feel stable, not stressful. This is where clarity becomes confidence. Because I know for me, I'm going to be so real. I know I'm not going to have all of this. And I may. But I know how I want to live. I don't want to live tight, because normally, sometimes, I can only speak for what I do know. Sometimes what you bring home in regards to your pension, Social Security, when you get there, all your other little things that you have in between, your Roth IRAs, your stocks, your bonds, your brokerage accounts, and all these different things, 401s, when they start paying you out, right? When you get to that point, it may not add up to what you're bringing in, or it may exceed, depending on how aggressive you go, if you have not started yet. And one thing I also want to tell you, do not be ashamed if you have not started yet. It is okay. Right now, if you are 50, just like how I'm approaching 50, you can go ahead and get some things done. Okay? You can get some things done. Might have to scale back a little bit, but you can get some. These last 10 years, or say 12 years to 62, you can get aggressive. You can get real aggressive, and you can make up for times in your 20s and your 30s and your 40s. That's why I'm letting my daughters know to start now. Even if it's putting $20, $50, it will add up. If you put $100 a month, if I'm not mistaken, I forgot the calculations, $100 a month from the time you turn 20, you will have like some crazy 1 point something million. But it has to be in a compounding account. It has to be like, invest. Ladies, if you know that you didn't do this, let your children do it. Let them do it. So that's why I let my daughters know, hey, start early. I know you might want to be on the beach having a good time. That's just one less hookah for you. One less bottle of this for you. This goes over here. Because I want my daughters to be financially stable. Yes, however their life may turn out for them, partnered, non-partnered, I want you to be okay. You know what I mean? Because mama is okay. I'm not partnered, but I'm okay. So, housing matters more than you realize, okay? Downsizing is very important. I know a lot of people. I was on the phone with one of my girlfriends yesterday, and we were talking about. She called me. Her name is Kia. Hey, Kia, if you watching, she called me to let me know. She was like, "Girl, your videos is hitting." She was like, "I'm enjoying these conversations," and I was like, "Oh, thank you. I'm so happy." You know, we was just gloating, having a good time, and we were talking about passing things on to our children and things like that. And I was like, I know my kids don't want this house. Because you sit back and think, did we want our parents' house? Did we want our parents' gadgets and stuff? I don't even, my mother got stuff now. I'm like, either you trash it, because when it's my turn, it's not even going to have a second chance. It's getting trashed. Back in the day, silent generation, boomers, it was like the more crap they had, that meant the more wealth they had. And all they want to do is pass things down because that's how they passed on wealth. You know, they weren't passing on thousands and millions how our other folks do because they didn't have that. So I get it. But people do not want to deal with houses because the way the generation is now, it's like, hey, I'll take a condo, I'll do a townhouse, I'll do an apartment, high rise, floor to ceiling windows, all the different things. Nobody is like, I want the house. If they do want the house, they want the house if they're getting married, they have children, want the backyard, the fence, all the things. But if that's not how their life is, they don't want that. They want other. And I understand that because guess what? My friend Chanel, she knows. And I was telling Kid, if I would want to live in a condo, I would want to live in a high rise because that's just how I feel my lifestyle is. This, me in a house, is because of my family dynamic. Other than that, Kelly would be in somebody's apartment. Kelly would be in somebody's townhouse. No, I don't want to do a townhouse. That's still like a house. I cut these expenses in half, honey. And let's go. Let's travel. Let's have some fun. But we're gonna do it responsible though. Do it responsible. I'm all over the place. Don't mind me. Don't mind me. So as mentioned, housing is very important. Housing can make or break your retirement. You live somewhere where your living expense, mortgage, rent, whatever, is high, and then you get on this fixed income. You don't want to be house poor, apartment poor. It's probably gonna be a big chunk of your expenses, but you don't want that to take up all your expenses because you still want to live. You need groceries, you need toiletries, you need to pay other expenses to just live, and you also want to have extra on the side because you just never know. You just never know. What are some good options? Downsizing, relocating. For me, I'm very fortunate. I live in a really good retirement state, which is North Carolina. New York is not a good retirement state. I don't know much about Texas, but do your research on, where you are at the moment. And let me know if your state is a good retirement state. Let me know in the comments, like, what state you're in, and just say good retirement state, Pennsylvania. Bad retirement state, Texas. Just let me know because that let other people know in the area, but also do your research on what are some really good retirement states because you want to know what the housing market looks like. That's for mortgages and for rentals. You just need to know. And back on this renting thing, we want to rent with intention. Some people, they like to live with family, they like to live with friends, they might like to have a co-living space. I don't want to rule anything out, but these are definitely options. You want to put everything out on the table. I feel like for me, the only way I would co-live with someone is if I'm on a cruise ship. Yeah. I would go live in a studio. I really would. I mean, as long as I know that my daughters and immediate family is really, really good, which I know they will be, I would live in a studio. I think side note, I think studios are so sexy. I think it just tells a story in like one big space. I know I was talking to my daughter a couple of months back about, why don't you try a studio? Why don't you go live like in a high rise? get you a studio or a loft, something really wide and open, and then have like little nooks, nooks of your personality. So when somebody comes to visit you, or even when you walk in, you're like, wow, you get like a blast of a blast of you. Let me tell you something. I don't need a lot of stuff. I really, really don't. Clothes, the necessities. Get it out, Kelly. The necessities. Do I have a lot of clothes? I do. I got 2 closets. And I really feel when I get to that 55, maybe even 70, 60, I'm probably going to be in the studio. I'm going to be living my old teenage self. Not old teenage self, but like being like an older woman with class, might I add, but just have a youthful spirit to me, to herself. I'm talking in future tense. Yeah, I feel that. And I want that. You know, I don't feel like I'm going to grow my hair back. So I'm going to be like an old baldy, maybe some gray eyebrows. Who the heck knows? Skin looking good. Let me tell you something. Paint the picture. Don't be too far in the future. But paint the picture. Make your life the way you want it to be. Okay? Retirement is not just about stopping work. It's about designing your life. Now you get to design your life the way you want to. You're not designing your life the way you had to design it due to how you worked, due to the hours you had in your life that was available to you after you worked, after you were tired, after you get to do it the way you want to. While you're designing your life, some people like to stay busy. And I'm going to do a video on this about semi-retirement because everybody doesn't want to just stop. I would love to just stop. I'm going to keep it at the forefront. But as I'm diving deep into this, semi-retirement may not be bad depending on what you want to do. Consulting, starting that business, not something that's stressful, but doing something that's going to enrich you. Girl, we're going to talk about it. Let me tell you something. Doing things on a solo is not bad. In the beginning, I feel that way, but it's really not. You want a little companion every now and then, but it's not that bad. Not that bad. It's a lot of peace of mind. I know for myself, but I do know some women want less house and more freedom, and that's where I am. I want less this, more freedom, so I can just do and go, And there's a lot of, since you're on a fixed income, these rent stabilized apartments and things like that, knowing what your actual rent is going to be from year to year to year. I mean, there's so many options. It's so many options, so many conversations. We'll be talking about this for days and months to come because there's so many different ways to dissect this and to make sure that you are good. I know for me, I want more peace, I want flexibility, and I want freedom. I don't know about you, but you let me know what you want. Let me know down there. There is an emotional side of retiring solo. So I'm not going to sit here and act like tough girl and things like that. I mean, yes, you like your freedom. Yes, you don't have to think about anybody else, but there is a emotional side. So we're going to be very transparent, because you're doing this by yourself. So what are some things that can kind of like creep up? In this planning process, it can bring loneliness and uncertainty. As I also mentioned before, you can also create freedom, softness, and self-trust. Retirement should include financial peace and emotional peace. A lot of women out here are not just retiring from work, they're retiring from stress. You'd be so surprised at how working at a 9 to 5 and a 9 to 5 working a 9 to 5, how much stress it can bring you outside of your home and inside of your home. We bring that stuff and not even knowing. We don't even know how it trickles onto our family, how it trickles on into our life. We thinking we're not there at that job anymore, but yet it's affecting us in other ways. Your heart, your mind, your soul, everything. And before you know it, stress is a silent killer. Sometimes you don't even know you have high blood pressure. Some people, they have white coat syndrome. When they go to a doctor, their pressure goes up, right? Some people, like myself, when I get to a doctor's office, my pressure will go down because I know I'm safe. I know I'm in good hands, especially with my doctor, I'm in good hands. But let me tell you something. As of recently, as of recently, I woke up in there, it didn't matter. Okay? Take care of yourself. Did you hear me? When you're doing solo retirement, some people can be a loner. I know for me, I have my moments where I can be a loner. Then I want, a little camaraderie. It just all depends. I go in and out. But this is definitely a good time when you're doing solo things to build community. There's other women out here who are retiring solo. Shoot, some of your girlfriends might be retiring solo. Like I mentioned before, you have widows. You have people that are divorced. You have just other single women. Just because you're doing something solo doesn't mean that, you may have been partnered before, but you're not partnered now. So it all just depends on how it goes. So this is where you build your community. So now that we talked about all the points, what's a priority, what's not a priority, how to look at things, what could retirement actually look like? Like, what does that actually look like for a black woman, a single black woman? What does that look like? What does retirement look like for a single black woman? You know, I'm loving this because it's making me feel full. It's making me know that there's so many options out there for us. What are some options? As I mentioned before, semi-retirement, part-time work. Semi-retirement can mean, you go part-time at your particular job, or you go find a part-time job somewhere else. Semi-retirement, you just kind of like coasting at your job. I don't know. Consulting, I mentioned that before. A passion income. There's so many of you ladies that mention that, you have YouTube channels, you have hobbies that can turn into, income. You can monetize your hobbies, all different things. This is that time because you still have your income that, you're sitting home on. You're getting, if we can all get the Social Security, you got your pension, you got your 401, you got all your other stuff coming in. So you're good. You're fixed. So now you want to do something different, something that's going to actually bring you joy. Start monetizing them passion projects. For those of you who like to write books, who like to, maybe you're good at English and you like to do, I forgot what it's called. You're going to know, when you proofreading, things like that. Girl, it is so much to be done out here and you can do it on your own terms. You can say no when you want to, versus at work you can't say no. And just overall, like what it looks like in retirement for a single black woman, you're just lowering all your expenses, lowering your costs, just lowering everything. And then you can pick up some things when you want to, put it back down again. It's just, retirement seems, and I hate this, but I love it at the same time, it feels free. You look at how this world has been created, but nobody questions nothing, that everything in this world was created by man. Nobody questions it. Nobody questions it. Everybody just say, this is how God wants it. God created this beautiful place. This is what God wanted. He put it in the Bible. He said it through other people. But no one sits back and actually sit back and say, you know what? Let me step back for a minute and just look at the whole picture. But I know where this stems from. And I know this may seem very off-kill of the topic. It stems from us as humans just wanting to know where we come from and how we got here. And how we evolved. But it's all science. It's all science. If you go back and say, what was the first living creature on this planet? How did life come about? And I don't hear about no damn Adam and Eve. So back to the topic at hand. What could retirement actually look like? It's going to look different for each and every one of us, but it can look like just working less and not disappearing from work completely. Maybe it looks like choosing your peace over burnout. Maybe it looks like financial independence with flexibility. And that is okay. That is okay. Freedom can look like choices, not just dates on a calendar. You know, I got this meeting to go to. I got that meeting to go to. I got to meet with my boss. I got to meet with this person. I got to meet with that one. No, no. And I know when you're in your 20s and your 30s, you're like, yes, like I want to be in corporate America. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to be in government. I want to do that. But that's just the youthfulness in you, the strive, the that go-getter. When you get to this age, you like, look, where is the peace? If you are a black woman over 40 and you are planning for retirement, it may look different, but that doesn't mean that it's out of reach. It just means that your strategy has to fit your real life. Solo retirement can still be peaceful, intentional, and powerful. So I want you to comment solo down below if you would like some more videos on solo retirement for black women over 40, and I would definitely create them. So if you enjoyed this video and you'd like for me to create more videos around black women over 40 retiring solo, comment solo down below and I will create more videos like this because I really had a good time having this conversation with you. Also, if you know another black woman over 40 who would love conversations like this, share it with her. And also comment, subscribe, share, hype it up, all the things. I truly, truly appreciate it because that lets more women just like us be aware of our community and what we have going on over here. Yes, we love that for us. So, in saying that, I will catch you in the next conversation.